Here we go with more overclocking attempts. If you guys aren't into this sort of stuff, then you're probably not gonna watch this video, which would make me wonder why you even clicked on it in the first place. Today's video is sponsored by Micro Center and their custom PC builder. Use the custom PC builder to plan your next build, and when the parts are added to your cart and in-store pickup is selected, you have the option for a Micro Center technician to fully build your PC for an extra fee. And if the order is placed at least 4 hours before closing, you can enjoy your new PC the very same day. Get the best prices and parts selection at any of Micro Center's 25 locations across the United States. And right now, my viewers can get a free 32GB flash drive and a free 32GB micro SD card while supplies last, in-store only. To see everything Micro Center has to offer and to learn more about this limited time incentive, click the link in the description below. So here's the deal. My second place SLI scores have been beaten, and I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to beat them back, but I'm gonna try. If you guys haven't seen the other parts of this extreme overclocking adventure that we're on, our second card here is kind of a dud. This one, it will not give me 2400 megahertz even reliably, and I'm not gonna be able to beat the scores that they've got up there, OGS or whoever he is, with these particular, you can tell where I overpoured and it like eroded away. Anyway, if I can't get both cards up to about 2500 megahertz, I'm not gonna be able to beat their score. So what I've had to do is run this card in the second slot because it takes on a little bit less of a load in SLI. And so I can run it a little bit harder without it necessarily crashing. But there's a few things I need to try here. One, Vince, Kingpin, he is adamant that my VRMs are getting hot. Because even by putting fans on here, like pointing directly, these are the VRMs right here, at least one of them, right? So there's a front side and there's a back side. Both sides need to be cooled. There's also VRMs on the front right here on the card, and these are responsible for like the memory and stuff. And remember, we do push memory and memory voltage pretty high on these. And he was like, you need to put the heat sinks back on. So the Kingpin cards, I don't think I showed you guys the teardown. I don't believe I did. They have individual heat sinks for the VRMs. Remember, they are water cooled, so they have like an Asetek cooler on here. And I was like, how am I supposed to put the VRM heatsink back on? They won't fit with the pot. And he was like, well, that's true for the old pot. Now remember, these are a new design here that aren't out yet, so I'm not really showing you much. That's why they're totally covered. I'm not showing you guys the insides or anything. But you see how much wider this is than the old one. And yeah, this would interfere. But the new ones being narrower, he said, will allow us to mount the heat sinks. So there's two things I want to try today. One, I know how far I was able to get these cards already with the current settings. I found that they seem to be liking a higher set voltage and then not even running a load line on there really. Now load line is where under load, the voltage will droop and bring some of the voltage down. That helps with heat and stuff. It just really seems like lately I was running these actually at like 1.425 volts or so, and like load line 1 or 0, which is like something Vince was like, don't even do that. I beat my old score by about 400 points by doing that. So I remember I was at a 32,087, I think it was. We're now at 32,450 something because I've done some of this off camera already because I wasn't gonna make you guys a video about it every time I do it. It would just be redundant and burn you out. But I figure since today, I wanna see what will happen with these recommendations. I figured I'd take you guys along for the ride. So we're gonna go ahead now and take the heat sinks out of the box, get them thermal paste up and put back on, and we'll see how this does. But what I started to say is I put the lesser card that doesn't perform as well in slot 2, my card that I know that I can get almost 2600 out of in the first slot. I won't be able to run 2600 in SLI, they never will go as far. But I also feel like I'm pushing the memory too far in SLI, which could be leading to some of my, my crashing issues. I've noticed that on both Vince's 33,800 score, which is currently the world record, and even OGS's score, which is beating ours right now by about 500 points, they're running significantly slower memory than I am. So I'm wondering if I can gain some stability by reducing the memory clocks and then bumping up the core clock a little bit, and then hoping by being able to keep the VRMs cool means we won't be crashing 3/4 of the way through the test. One of my crashes crashed, and it was a score that I know was gonna be a good one, crashed like as it was fading to black at the end of the test. And one of the tips that Vince gave me was, if you crash deep into the test, it's not core, it's a VRM temp. And he's very, very confident in that. So this is gonna be my last test with that. And then we might see if we can get our hands on another card for the second card here to get the core clock up. Maybe send this one back and see what that does. But you know what? The only reason we kept our spot as long as we did as second place is because the XOC guys, the extreme overclockers, didn't have 2 cards for the longest time. And now they're starting to get their hands on 2 of them. They're starting to hard mod them, and we're gonna now rapidly fall down the leaderboard just like we did with the 20 series. But I think it makes a fun series to see an amateur like me try and hold off these guys as long as we can. The mounts on here are perfect though. I can tell you, we never got the paste to crack. I even ran these all the way down to minus 180 C. That is the temperature of liquid nitrogen. That means the pots could not go colder, and I still didn't get cracking on the thermal paste. The test would still run, you know, halfway, 3/4 of the way through the test before it would crash, which was telling me VRM was too cold or too hot. Other things like the memory was probably getting too cold. There was all this differential temperature on the board. Now that I sort of know where I can land, I have my settings saved from the last test. We can start there and see how quickly we can maybe chicken walk up to a better score. But this is like, these mounts are perfect. Therefore I left them and I didn't take them off. In fact, I thought you had to break it down and dismount it every time. And Vince was like, no. He's like, just let them dry out, you know, get them nice and dry. And then he said sometimes he'll leave a mount on as long as a month if it's a really good one. So that's what we're gonna do. But first, we gotta get the heat sinks on here. So this is the individual heatsink for the VRMs here, and you can see this is what has the fan on there. I'm not sure I'm gonna leave this fan on there though. I feel like I should replace this fan with the 120 like I've been doing. Here's a thermal pad that touches the actual MOSFETs right here, and then I'll put thermal paste along the top of the chokes just like they had it, and then this will mount down in there like that. It's like we're frosting a cake. This is how it goes. Screw it in through the back. We'll come back when it's all together. So I think I've decided I'm gonna go ahead and just take this fan off. I don't believe this fan is gonna spin as fast or move as much air as say the 120s that I've been using. I'll just take the 120s like I've been doing and like rubber band them onto there like we were doing before. So there's that. The chokes don't make as much of a contact as I would like, but the chokes are less of an issue. I mean, they're touching. The thermal paste is definitely touching them. But the MOSFETs, which are on the other side here, where these are soldered in, that's being squished in there pretty good with a thermal pad. So we will definitely have good transfer there. Now we've got some cooling for those VRMs. I don't think that there was one for the front. Let me see. Well, would you look at that? We do have one for the front. All right, so we'll put the front one on too. Perfect. Now we're definitely gonna get some VRM cooling here. So any of the vapors too that fall down from the pot, oh man, will also aid in cooling this and keeping it cooler. Okay, so that's what it looks like now. I'd say, what do you think, Phil? VRM cooling much?
Dude, looks sick. Stop filming me.
Stop filming me.
Stop filming me.
Stop filming me.
Stop filming
me.
No.
These fans are gonna move way more air than the ones that were on it. Wish I had a nicer way to mount these than a rubber fan. It looks so janky. But I guess this is way more Jay's 2 cents like. I've screwed myself up in the past by having card 1 and T2 slot, and then like, why won't the card go colder? And then one card's at like 40 C and then the other card's at like 170. I'm like, oh crap. So we'll do a 1 on that one. So I know that that is the number 1.
Jay in 2077 is going to be like a future Ripper Doc.
Yeah.
I would be a Ripper Doc.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But I don't like blood. Blood. There's becoming less and less room for things on here. Come look at this side, Nick. So because I need to cool the front side VRMs as well, you can see I've got this all literally gaff taped on there because I have to have room for that. So I'm trying to blow air onto these front heat sinks, and then these are blowing onto the back heat sinks, and I really hope it all just boots right now.
It's cold in here. I'm gonna get my Jay's 2 cents hoodie.
You mean
Get
the
your
one?
very own Jay's 2 cents hoodie at store.jays2cents.com or just jays2cents.com if you don't want to type the store dot.
This requires more intelligence points than I have. I can't get the zipper to work.
I want to point out the one that Phil is wearing is the official one that's for sale. Because I'm the boss, I have a special one.
Wait, what's mine?
Color rank. Red means
Sucks.
Awesome.
Does that mean I'm awesome too?
No, because you.
No,
you're.
it means you suck.
Yeah, you're
Steve.
low. Here's what we're gonna do. Instead of boring you guys with, here he goes again, just pouring, saying nothing. Phil's just gonna come up with some cool montage crap, and we'll see if I even got anywhere. Just so that we know what I need to beat, though. The scores. So my current best right now in SLI is 32,465. OGS is at 33,029. So I've got to come up with like, shoot, 500 or 450-ish points. No, more than that. Math is bad. 550-ish points. I don't know, man. I really don't know. This card right here, this little son of a biscuit right there. But we'll see now if the VRMs are gonna help. Okay, so I beat my score already by about 100 points, which is great. I'm within 500 now of OGS, but I've learned some things already about these cards that I didn't expect. It's changed my entire approach as to how I'm doing this. Okay, I'm not sure. I think now I've reached that limit of the second card again, but I'm doing it with way less voltage than I was before. We did get, and yes, I saved it. I did beat my previous score of a 32,400 something, which for the 32,535, and I did that with significantly less voltage. So I have a feeling now that my voltage was far too high all along, because I was running the kind of voltage that I would usually use for single card runs with much higher frequencies, and I've said it before a million times, SLI, you do not get the same frequencies. They're significantly lower. So what I ended up doing this time, which really, really helped, I started at like 1.3 volts and stock core clock, and I put my memory to where my memory started crashing. Then I backed off the memory, and now I'm walking my clocks up. And as soon as they're no longer stable, I add a little more voltage and do it again. Exactly as I've always preached to you guys. Yet the way I was doing it all along was just like, crank this knob this way and turn this one that way, and I don't know what's happening anymore. Let's just turn that up more. You know what? It's not going. Just give it all kinds of voltage, and that was just
Pour half a liter LN2 into the pot.
Yeah, you saw I was like constantly pouring. So I just reached like a hard wall right there now where they're crashing at the very beginning of the run. It's not the paste. Trust me, it's not the paste. It's now the voltage. Probably running these way too cold at like minus 150. It didn't crack the paste. And then way too much voltage, which is why, sure, I could get through the run because we're just brute forcing it there, but then the voltage regulators get too hot, and then that causes instabilities in its own way. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and shut her down, restart it, try again. So that's what we're gonna call it. I did beat my score, still have not caught OGS, and remember, he's got time to push it even farther ahead. But I did make some headway today. The problem is it was running at this temperature, it's like glued to the box now. It was running at these really cold temperatures for 2 hours before I really started to make headway by realizing my overvolting problem. I was doing too much voltage, too cold. And now the point is, like the problem is the board is just like completely frozen. Memory's probably too cold. I'm getting weird artifacts, and that's usually an indication that like water's getting in places it shouldn't be. I'm gonna just do one more I'm just gonna do one more run to see if I can't show you guys what the artifacts I was talking about look like. It's funny because this is memory or error correcting memory, so it doesn't normally like artifact in a way that you would expect, like old GDR6 does. But I'm also running them much, much warmer than I was at like minus 110. It's funny to refer to minus 110 as a warm temperature. Here's what it kind of looks like. And I do expect it to sort of artifact. And I am taking a risk by even doing this to show you guys, because if water has made its way in there, then I could be, well, setting these cards up for death. These videos are about education. Whether you want to call me educational or not, I don't really care. You can still learn something from these. I don't expect this test to pass. If it does, and it doesn't give any weird artifacts or anything, it might actually beat the last score. But it's one of those things where if you don't get it right at the start, you're not going to get it. And that's what Vince was constantly trying to get me to understand. Yeah, see, that doesn't scratch right there. Yeah, so we're pretty much done ski for today. Don't know if I'll bring you guys another video about this. I really don't. Even if I get the second card, I just want to keep playing around behind the scenes. Today, there was something new to show you. The VRM cooling being such a big deal there. I kind of want to do it one more time because I think I might need to go a little colder at the start. See, this is the problem. It's like a drug. You just kind of go, no, 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 one more, just one more, hold on, one more. And then you just get all hooked on it. I got 2 thermoses of LN2 left. I kind of just want to utilize these for something other than pouring them out on the ground and going, ooh, look at all the Maidenfrost effect happening. I can't even begin to explain how cold my hands are. Just from all the vapors. So I'm holding about minus 120 to 123 right now, which is where more than one XOC has commented that these cards should be. Oh, that's a lot. Okay, so there you go. That's it. Let's go ahead and, I guess, upload that score. So this is my previous best. This is the 32465. You can see our average core frequency was 2445. Now that's going to be the higher card. So that's showing me the higher card's frequency. Memory was at 1419. So if I go ahead and load our best score, it's funny, I bet you our better score is going to have a lower average core clock and probably a lower memory. What do you want to bet? So 2445 and 1419, 2445 and 1394. So actually lesser memory speed. And it got me 100 extra points. So that's how I know I'm onto something. I've got to get the core clocks to 2500 if I'm going to have any chance. So time to warm the system up, take it apart, get ready for some other videos we're going to make. But I just want to take you guys along for the ride to see if the VRM heat sinks on here made a difference. I'm going to say yes that they did, just how long I was able to run this. The problem now is how long I ran it. I really do need to just now go at it with these settings next time when it's cold. I know for a fact the memory's too cold. I know there's moisture on the board. There's probably moisture in the socket. So guys, thanks for watching. I know these types of videos only really attract the attention of a few people because this is something a lot of people are just like, this is dumb, what's the point? Well, it's like drag racing, what's the point? It's about showing everyone how much bigger yours is, but there's bigger people have bigger ones than mine on the scoreboard.